Good afternoon. Hope you're having a great day and a good start to your week. This week's Torah portion is the portion of Vayakel and Pekudei. It's a double portion, and we finished the book of Exodus. But the first verse of the portion of Vayakel starts and begins with the verse Vayakel Moshe, and Moses gathered at Kol Adat Bnei Yisrael, the whole congregation of Israel, Vayomer Alehem, and he told them, this is what God wants, speaking about the mitzvah of Shabbat. The rabbis tell us this happened a day after Yom Kippur, and that Moses gathered all the Jewish people. And from there we get the mitzvah that every 7 years, we have the Shnat Hakel, the year of gathering, which is this year too. After the year of rest came the year of Hakel, where all the Jewish people got together to celebrate. But it's interesting because if you listen to the verse, he uses the word Vayakel, which comes from the word Kehillah, which means community. We all know that word. And then he uses the word Eidat, Kol Adat, the entire congregation, which is another word we use for community. When you have a minyan, we learn the word minyan out of an Eidah, when Moses speaks to the congregation in the time of the spies. So there's two words you could use. But why does Moses use both? He starts with the word Vayakel, which means Kihila, a congregation, and he goes on to the word Adat, which speaks also about a congregation. But today, what's more prevalent is the word Vayakel, a Kihila. Everyone speaks about their community, their Kihila. Why are there two words? What's the difference? And why does Moses say the word Vayakel to gather the whole congregation? And the answer the rabbis give is a very beautiful one, and it's an old-time debate. There's two ways you could identify a community. One is called Eidah. Eidah comes from the word to witness, to see something, to experience something. And the rabbis tell us that there are communities that are born out of a shared experience. They've been through something together, and that shared experience, that thing that they witnessed, unites them and brings them together. For example, the Jewish people themselves, they went through the greatest exodus. They suffered during Pharaoh in slavery. They had that shared experience, that shared bond, which what they witnessed, which brought them together as a community. But then, there's also a community that's a kehillah, that their shared thing is not what they witnessed together only, but their shared destiny, their future, their hope, their purpose for why they live and what they want to accomplish. And what Moses was saying is there's two types of community, a community that's born and lives only through their shared experiences, through their past, and there's the community that's born and lives through what their purpose is and where they're heading and what they want to accomplish. And what Moses was telling the Jewish people in such a profound way is that for the future of Judaism to survive, to thrive, to grow, we can't only be an Eidah. We can't just be a community that lives off its shared experiences and past, but we need to have a common purpose and a common goal. When you think about today, there's Jews all over the world. If it's the former Soviet Union, if it's Argentina, if it's Singapore, if it's Japan, if it's Abu Dhabi, if it's Israel, if it's America, if it's Canada. And what brings us together is our shared destiny of where we want, our shared destiny, but more importantly, our shared purpose of what we want to accomplish. The same can be true with families. You have families of 3, 4, 5 siblings that grow up in a home where they have the same, they had the same experiences. They lived through the same things. But because there was no purpose, because there was no future, because there was no destiny of where they wanted to head, the family gets broken up. They're not close anymore. Heaven forbid, sometimes they fight. What Moses told the Jewish people is, Vayakel Moshe es kol adas bnei Yisrael. He gathered a community that was built on shared experiences, and he tried to give them purpose to be a community that will be a kehillah, that will have a shared future and destiny of where they go to, and a purpose of making this world a place that God wanted it to, of bringing godliness and spirituality and morality and kindness into this world. And that's why the first thing Moses says right afterwards is he tells them about Shabbos. Because Shabbos is that thing. As Achad Ha'am, the Israeli poet, always said that Shabbos has kept the Jews more than the Jews have kept Shabbos. Shabbos is when we block out that which is the hustle and bustle, and we go into a destiny, an island of spirituality, an oasis of purpose, where we we focus what we live for, what we want to accomplish, and who we are. And that, my friends, is the tools Moses gave the Jewish people to be an Eidah and not just a Kehillah. One of my favorite stories is that in the year 2000, the editor of the New York Times, January 1st, had 3 front pages. One of January 1st, 2000, one of January 1st, 1900, what was on the New York Times, and one of January 1st, 2100, what would be on the New York Times. And interestingly, in the 1990s, for a while, there was a Jewish Chabad philanthropist who paid that every single Friday on the front page of the New York Times would be the candlelighting time for New York and some major cities every Friday. And it lasted from maybe the early 90s till 94, 95, and then it stopped. But when the editor of the New York Times made the front page of 1900, 2000, and 2100, he put in on the front page of 2100, which happens to be a Friday, candlelighting time for New York City. And they asked him, why did you do it? He was a Catholic guy. And they said, why would you put that in out of all things? How do you know what's going to be? And he said, listen, I'm not sure what's going to happen in 2100. Will there be robots? Will there be flying cars? Will we be living on Mars? But one thing I'm guaranteed, he says, that Jewish women will be lighting Shabbos candles. And the message that Moshe gives us is clear, that we have to be a community that's not just built on our shared experiences, but our shared destiny of bringing godliness and spirituality into the world. And the way we do it is when Shabbos comes and we light candles on time or before, and the woman blesses the Shabbos and brings in that spiritual aura, and the family sits together and invites guests and community, and we celebrate our destiny. We don't forget where we came from, our experience, but we also focus on the purpose that God gave us in this world. God bless you and have a great